right? You can tell.
And it's going to get worse this week for you guys in Oklahoma City and other parts of the country.
We're talking about near record-breaking heat. How about Lincoln, Nebraska, tying potentially a record tomorrow set back in 1979 for 101 degrees. Oof. That's a lot.
What do you even say to that?
You find your moment of zen, and if you don't have AC, you wind up going somewhere that does. Movie theaters, malls.
Yeah, 101 Dalmatians, good. 101 degrees, bad.
Yes.
I won't get on board with that. Go to the movie theater and see 101 Dalmatians and make yourself feel better.
It should be free. They should just show that all day for anyone that needs it.
In an air-conditioned theater for free. 102 in El Paso, they say, you know what? We'll up the ante. Let's take this to 102. But look, at mid and upper 90s, the norm through a lot of the country.
And unfortunately, the temperature doesn't tell the whole story. You have to factor in the humidity, too, and that makes it even worse.
Yeah, those dew points, especially when you get into an area like Little Rock, where the dew point's at 73, you take in the consideration of the temperature of 96, but it feels like it's in the hundreds because of how humid it is.
And look how the heat continues to build. We're talking Friday into Saturday, 102 Amarillo, almost 100 in Dallas. We're above average right on through.
And even, yeah. I just kind of want to lay on the floor next to the AC vent when you see numbers like that. And the extreme heat is affecting everything. It's affecting us, our pets, and roads. You're like, what am I looking at? It takes a minute to get your bearings, but within that circle,
everyone driving by the wall right here,
those cars are going airborne because it's basically like the road created that little ramp you did for your bicycle back in the day, but you don't want this when your car is going highway speed.
So this was Saturday in Little Canada, Minnesota, just east of Minneapolis. Temperatures there were in the 90s, but of course you've got the black pavement soaking up that heat all day, making it feel even hotter than that.
Yeah. And eventually it did cause a slowdown. You saw at first people were speeding over, and then people started to notice, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want to do that.
We want to explain how this all happens. So we're going to bring in the chalkboard.
I get to work my inner Vanna White.
It's very nice. Good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's talk about these roads, right? They're generally asphalt or concrete. Concrete actually has bigger problems with this buckling because it has a lower tensile strength, meaning it's not as kind of elastic. The asphalt can kind of stretch and move, and so it doesn't buckle because it can spread out even within each segment. But those segments, those segments have these joints, and they're meant to be able to take that expansion from the heat because, like every material, when things warm up, they expand.
They're going to expand. You probably notice around your home, you know, you kind of get those cracks over the years, and the pavement's doing the exact same thing. In this case, it just wasn't able to expand, and you kind of got that.
So think about like the plates of the earth, how the Himalayas formed because you had those two plates coming towards each other, pushing up against each other and forming a mountain. That's what happens on the road. When those slabs can't expand out anymore at the joint, they press together.
They expand up.
And basically any temperature above 90 starts that risk. And we had temperatures well above that, and we're going to continue to have that throughout the whole week.
Right, so it could be a problem in other spots. So just another thing to think about when you're out there driving those roads. Be careful, folks. Buckle up.
Yeah, now let's go back to the cave. Social media is fielding your questions and your comments, or really Ryan has behind the bar. So let's go over to Ryan.
Yeah, it has been me. But you've been tweeting, so that's totally fine.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get to the questions. The first one's from David, and David wants to know, is there a chance of severe weather tonight and tomorrow for St. Louis, Missouri, and how hot will it get? Hey, that's two questions.
It's a twofer from David.
There's a chance of a thunderstorm, I suppose, overnight tonight. I don't think it's going to be severe. And then tomorrow, the action might be close to there, but might start off just to the east of there. So it's sort of one of those, you might, if you don't want a thunderstorm, you might get lucky by having the main threat time having been overnight.
And it was St. Louis, right? Yeah, heat advisories again tomorrow. So it'll feel like 100 or above. You might be hoping for a severe thunderstorm at that point.
That's true. That's true.
All right, for the next question, this comes from R. Clay Styles asking, Alex Wilson, a friend's outdoor wedding is Saturday at 4 p.m. in Lester Prairie, Minnesota. Will we be cowering in the beer tent or will it be sunny? And I'm going to prevent you from answering this.
Okay.
Because you're going to answer this question anyway.
Cower in the beer tent anyway?
You're going to answer this question anyway coming up in your forecast.
That's true. In my weekend forecast, I've had it. But who doesn't want to be in the beer tent, right?
Call it a tease.
Beer tent. Let's be in the beer tent. All right, so the next question comes from Edward, and Edward wants to know, if a tornado doesn't actually reach the ground, Is it still called a tornado? If not, what is it? Severe storm?
Well, it would be a funnel cloud. In that case, it's not a tornado unless the wind circulation is at the ground. Now, what you may be confused by is the funnel, the condensation part that relates to the low pressure. That may only be part way to the ground, but the wind circulation has to be at the ground for it to be called a tornado.
All right.
And often, if you have a funnel cloud, you will get a warning, and so
Yeah.
it would likely already be a severe thunderstorm or tornado warned storm.
All right, so the next one comes from Lil CJ, and Lil CJ wants to know, will South Mississippi have severe weather?
We'll have
Well-
to ask Big CJ.
I think they have the chance into the weekend, and it's the time of year where you could get a severe storm.
Yeah, this front that's going to be coming in actually will drive for later in the week and into the weekend, maybe some severe thunderstorms down into the Gulf Coast area, but probably not a big tornado threat.
And it's that
All right.
same front that could kick up something off the East
Yeah.
Coast
Right,
for the
which
tropics.
Mike was just talking about. All right, the last one for today, and I had to put this in here because we have caught on to everybody.
It's the rest of your lyrics, Alex.
At the Copacabana. I know every time I hear Copa America, I just think Copacabana. That's all I can think.
And it's
Sorry, Dr.
stuck
Forbes, I got it
in
stuck in your head
everybody's
too. I apologize. I'm the worst.
It's contagious.
Even Henry's like, no
Yeah.
more
Please, no, get me out
Copacabana.
of here.
He's like, I just wanted to watch the soccer game, Alex.
He's got his ears covered up.
Yeah. He's like, she does this all the time, everyone. I
In
have
any
to live
case-
with her.
Make her stop.
Thank you for sending your questions
Yeah.
in and your comments. We love hearing directly from you, so keep doing that for the rest of the week. And